Hi, it's Carissa, and if you'll recall on one of my previous videos I made this card. I really liked the way the layout turned out on this, so I thought I'd recreate it, and this time when I recreated it I thought I'd show you a little more in depth how to use the Stamp-A-Majig. The Stamp-A-Majig is designed for when you're stamping multiple items or when you need a precise image placement. And I'm going to start out with a piece of scratch paper underneath my piece of cardstock, and in order to keep this cardstock from moving around on me, I'm just going to go ahead and run just a tiny bit of adhesive on it and put it on my scratch paper. You don't want a lot, you just want it to keep it from sliding around, because when you're trying to get exact placement you can't have cardstock moving around on you. So the Stamp-A-Majig comes with this imaging sheet, and what you do is you take that imaging sheet and your stamp pad, and it doesn't matter what color you stamp on here in. And this is reusable and cleanable, so you don't have to worry about, using it up and then buying another one. I just take a baby wipe and clean it. So I'll ink up my stamp here and then just stamp it right on the imaging sheet. It's not real dark, but it's just for placement. So I'll hold this up so you can see that that's not stamped on the cardstock, it's actually on the imaging sheet. So what I do then is I take this imaging sheet and I place it where I want it on my cardstock. So I'm just trying to approximate the middle of this. Ooh, that was a big word, approximate. I'm just trying to approximate the middle of this piece of cardstock. And I'm just, trying to get it as close to center as I can. And what I do when I get this image in the center of the cardstock where I want it, then I take the Stamp-A-Majig and I place it right on the corner of it. So, and then I'll pull this away, leave the Stamp-A-Majig in place, re-ink my stamp, and this time I'm stamping directly on the cardstock. Just make sure that the corner and the side of the block are lined up in the corner of the Stamp-A-Majig, and stamp and pull up. So now I have my first image in place. Now I want to stamp again down here. And this is about where I want it, down here. So once again, I had a little slidage there. Maybe I should have put two pieces of adhesive down. Okay, so I want it right about there. So I'm gonna put my Stamp-A-Majig in place again. I'm going to move my imaging sheet, re-ink my stamp, and put that right in that corner again and stamp again. And there we go. Have the perfect placement. And if I lift this up, you'll see better what I'm talking about. So once again, I want to line this up, and I want about the same amount of the stamp on this side as on that side. So I can see where it's going to stamp here. I can make sure that these points are lined up right here. And then once again, I'll just put my Stamp-A-Majig here in the corner, ink up my stamp, and stamp again. It's just important to remember that you keep the corner and the side of the block lined up with the corner and the side of the Stamp-A-Majig here. So I'm just going to finish up these last two at the top, and then I'll make the rest of the card with you. Okay, so now I have my piece of very vanilla cardstock stamped the way I want it, and I just wanted to show you that this imaging sheet does clean up very nicely. I just have a package of baby wipes. That's what you're hearing rumbling around. They're just cheap off-brand baby wipes. And I'm just going to take this and rub this and show you that that cleans right up. So that's reusable. And it's nice because it's nice and thick. So when you go to put that Stamp-A-Majig up to the corner of it, it definitely has something to grab onto. I'm going to go ahead and punch the scallops in this quickly. I'm just going to take this hole punch, and I'm just going to punch holes in each one of these scallops. Just get it in there, line it up, and punch those holes there. Just adds a little extra detail. and it can be done rather quickly and easily. This can also be done with a paper piercer. Okay, so my edging detail is done with the holes punched in it, and I'm going to take my corner rounder again and round the corners here on this piece. And then what I'm going to do to make my lining up a little easier this time is I'm going to go ahead and adhere this piece to the scalloped piece where I want it, and that way I can get a little bit more precise on how much I want showing on that edge. So now that I have that, I can go ahead and mount this flush with the corner here. So I'll just adhere this. I'm trying to resist the urge to use more adhesive than that. So I can just line it up at the bottom and the side. Get it on there. And there's that. I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of chocolate chip grosgrain ribbon on this. Okay, so I've got that, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down to the front of my card. I'm not going to be using the Hodgepodge hardware on this card. I'm going to go with a different option for my sentiment. So I'm just getting these, covering the back here. Pull them off real quick. Okay. So for my sentiment, I'm going to use the Sincere Salutations stamp set. This is a great stamp set. It has a lot of different sayings on it. It's very nice and very versatile, and I would recommend it for beginning stampers. So I just have a piece of ivory scrap here, and I have my chocolate chip ink. And I'm just going to stamp that. Good thing it was straight. That always helps. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my trimmer and trim it down. So as I'm trimming it, I will kind of try to keep track of how large I'm making it. So this is about 1 7/8 by... see, smaller. Let's go 1 7/8 by 1 1/2. That looks like a good size for that. That works out nicely there, and I'm going to use the ticket corner punch to punch these corners on this. Okay, so I have those punched there. And I can just take my snail and I can use way too much adhesive again. It's so funny because every time I make these videos I can just hear Brienne telling me, that's too much adhesive. Okay, so then I can just mount this here on the front of the card. You know what? I'm going to add some more of those punches here. I just took my hole punch again and just tied it into the scallop edge. And I may just set this off kind of over here with some dimensionals. Want to make sure that when I'm putting the dimensionals on here, you're not going to see them from the front. So don't cover those holes. And you know what? I decided to put it over here. So there you are, a little different take on the same card. I mean, it's mostly the same, but it's kind of different. And I hope you learned from this video how to use the Stamp-A-Majig a little bit better, and I hope you can see that it really is a good tool to have in your craft room. So I hope you like the card, and I hope you have a wonderful day.